In order to create a custom deck for our virtual tabletop game in Roll20, we're going to need assets to use as the art for the cards. If you want to follow along, what I'm going to use is the Wildfire deck from +1 to Gaming. You can go over to +1togaming.com to find that. It's under our blog post for Fire Damage 5e rules and tools to manage D&D fire. Oddly enough, D&D mentions fire a lot but doesn't have a rule set, so we created one to manage fire burning and spreading around your game. To get it into your game, what you're going to do is launch. Any GM can use this because it works with the free version and everything. I've got an example game set up here to show you how it's going to work. You want to download those assets from the +1 to Gaming website. And once you get those, it's going to come in a zip file. Pretty standard practice. We're going to extract those files. And then when those are open, you'll see that we have card faces, a card back, which I'll talk about in a minute, and even some rule sheets so that you don't have to reference back to the website. You can just print it out and keep it at your table. So what we're going to do with these assets is go over to our collection section on the far right of our menus, and you'll notice there's a section called Decks. We can add, using this button along the right-hand side, to create a new deck. And when you click on it, it's going to open up everything that we need to create a custom deck within Roll20, including the area for our art assets. So I'm going to start by adding multiple underneath the cards section so that I get this menu where I can drag and drop all of my files over, and we'll see that they upload here, and I can just click create and it's going to start processing. And while it's processing, I'll tell you a little bit about a unique thing. The Roll20 version, it's the only way that we can do this because it actually was inspired by it. It requires a card back. Our physical deck, if you have a blended game and you also play on a real tabletop, we have a physical deck of transparent cards. But because they're transparent, it's cool that they can be oriented in any way, but we can't really have a card back because you would see through it and it would ruin the art. So that's kind of neat. Roll20 has that special difference to it compared to our physical decks that you can get on our website. All right, cool, this is finished. So we can see that we've got our card faces in here. And the same process pretty much is going to work for our card backs. So let me go back to card back. This is unique again for Roll20. We've just got one for all of them. We load it in there, and you can see that now we see the card back in this right-hand column and also larger here. I'm going to go ahead and save that so I don't lose anything. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to start with the details. Let's call this Wildfire Terrain Deck. So going down the list here, I do not need to show the deck to my players. I do not need card tooltips. Players aren't going to handle drawing cards. I will as the GM. So I'll turn that off. I want this to be infinite. This is kind of a preference thing if you want it to choose random. I'm going to draw through the deck, shuffle, and then repeat since the cards are already pretty much randomized, and I want a chance at some of those really big fire cards that have a lot of covered squares. I also want to do GM chooses from the show fronts, which means I'll be able to choose specific cards if I need to for, say, a story or a thematic reason. I do not need a discard pile. That's correct. I do not need discard pile. I do not need a removed cards pile. We're going to do place facing face up, so that way the fire is shown when they come onto the table. They can be drawings, that's fine. And our card size, I want to move to 140 by 210. That describes the pixels for the art. I can untick number of cards for the players. They do not need to see that. My art is already in here because we saved that before. So I'm just going to save again. Now I've got my Wildfire Terrain deck all loaded up on the right-hand side here. And how it works in-game is I can click Show, and it's going to pop up here for my GM in this layer. And it's super easy. You can see the card backs here. And if I need to get fire, all I do is drag and drop onto my table. Align it to my grid. And then we can start having fun. I can rotate, you know, if I need to. I can also go any direction I'd like. On top of that, if I need to flip the card for the smoke, say my players have put it out, I have that option, the really cool, unique thing about the Roll20 version. I can flip it back to fire. I can also obviously grab as many as I need. The rule set is there for you, so you don't have to math out how all this is going to work or anything. Just simply start slapping down fire and get your party real heated as it goes. So when I have these out, I can move them around. They can be grouped however you'd like. And if I need to remove them, the fastest way is to do recall all. It's cleared my map. I can hide from here, or I can hide from over in my menu here. And then the deck is off the screen and I can move on to my next scene. So that's it. It is pretty easy to get this set up. I'll go through, scroll these very slowly again so that you can get the settings in case you're still working on getting your Wildfire Terrain deck set up from +1 to Gaming. Hope you enjoyed and have fun burning stuff down. Let us know how it goes for you and your players.